Hello everyone and welcome to this year's episode of PAX Fresh, where I, Elspeth of the Planeswalker Pantheon, go to PAX Australia and buy one pack of every set that I can find at PAX. This year we've got, I think, about 16-17 packs of random sets. So let's just jump into it. This is basically me just opening packs for fun, not really caring about the value, but sometimes we get a little something spicy. Alright, the first pack we're going to go for is something nice and recent, Core 19. Oh boy. They're very good in draft. Field Creeper. Our first one coming to Stitcher's Supplier. Very good in Modern right now with the dredge decks that have been sort of forming up. I don't know if that's still the case because of Creeping Chill, but who knows. Enigma Drake. Actually decent in Standard right now with the blue-red spells decks that have been coming up. Vampire Sovereign. Very good in draft. It was basically the flying Siege Rhino in the set. And a rare... Oh, we got a Scapeshift. Nice. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the card Scapeshift, for 2 green, it's a sorcery. You sacrifice any number of lands, search your library for up to that many land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. This card is basically the centerpiece for the Scapeshift or Titan Shift decks that are currently in Modern right now. So this is a really nice collect, actually. This actually nearly makes my playset, I think, if I'm thinking about it correctly. And Meandering River. And a Tezzeret album. Emblem, sorry. Please pardon my voice. I was at FNM last night, so my voice is a little bit weirded out. But that's a good way to start a PAX Fresh, considering some of the packs that we've got here today. I'm just picking them out at random from the bag. Something that's still standard legal, Rivals of Ixalan. I hope Ixalan and Rivals and Dominaria actually get a chance to shine now that rotations happened. I think Kaladesh was just too strong of a block and just overshadowed some really cool cards that were in those sets. Get your silly legs on. Our first uncommon is Strength of the Pack. Second uncommon is Blazing Hope. Third uncommon is Famished Paladin. This seems pretty interesting. It's a cheap 3/3, but with an interesting downside. And a rare is a Bishop of Binding. So for 3 and a white, you get a Vampire Cleric. It's a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until Bishop of Binding leaves the battlefield. Whenever it attacks, target vampire gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the power of the exiled card. And, ooh, nice foil forest. That's going to go into my draft kit. And a normal forest of the exact same art. Vampire token. So, how have you guys been? Like I said, I was at FNM just last night. I drafted Guilds of Ravnica. I went 3-0 with a really sweet Boros deck, which I might take a photo of and put up later. Theros. I actually can't wait for us to return to Theros at some point in the future. People are thinking it's going to be quite soon with how some of the uncommons have been set up in Guilds of Ravnica with the double blue coloured costs. Devotion was a key thing in this set, so it basically cared about the number of coloured pips in the mana cost. It was a cool set. I remember drafting an insane blue-white heroic style deck back in the day. A lot of scrying, a lot of making my things huge and just beating in. Our first uncommon is a Battle-Wise Hoplite. This is actually part of that blue-white deck. I remember drafting all that time ago. Vanquish the Foul. Ordeal of Nylia. This is actually a part of a cycle. I believe they all costed various amounts, but whenever the creature's attacked, you put a +1/+1 counter on them, and if there were 3 or more counters on it, you sacrificed the enchantment and got an effect. So this one basically allowed you to not rampant growth, explosive vegetation basically, and get two lands onto the battlefield tapped. And a rare is an Ember Swallower. So for 2 red, you get a 4/5, and it has the mechanic of Monstrosity 3. And when it becomes monstrous, each player sacrifices 3 lands. So what Monstrosity says is, you pay the mana the cost, so it'd be 5 red in this case. You put 3 +1/+1 counters on it if it hasn't become monstrous, and then you get some sort of effect. Not the best one, I can't remember what the best monstrous payoff was, but there was definitely one. And a red soldier. Actually, no, the best one was Stormbreath. Stormbreath Dragon's very good. In like the green-red monsters deck back in the day. That was like the main one that really sort of stood out, I think. And now we're going into Nyx, with a journey to Nyx. Oh wow. Strive was another mechanic which was quite interesting. So basically it had a mana cost, and for each target beyond the first you get an additional target basically, so it allowed you to sort of stretch your thing. Magma Spray was great removal. I hope they do they reprinted it recently, I believe in Armcat. This is the first time we saw Scry as sort of a returning mechanic. Heroic was a mechanic that basically said whenever you targeted a creature with a spell, you get some sort of effect. The last showing of Intimidate before we got Menace. Constellation was another mechanic that was appearing in Theros block. So basically, it was basically said that these creatures are also enchantments, and it also cared about whether or not other enchantments enter the field. It was an interesting little mechanic, and these sorts of cards in foil look great. Our first uncommon is Nessing Game Warden. Sightless Brawler. So Theros was also the home of the bestow mechanic, where you'd have enchantment creatures that that you can cast for its bestow cost and have them act as an enchantment. If they were to fall off, they'd actually become creatures when the other creature that you enchanted with it dies. It was a really cool mechanic. And if you tried to kill the creature that was underneath, the creature would, and you had cast that as a bestow creature, it would just come out onto the field as a creature. So it was quite interesting. Thassa's Ire is our second uncommon. And our third uncommon, and our rare is Bear of the Heavens. So there was a lot of really good flavour for this set. Theros, as a block, was dedicated to Greek mythology. Bear of the Heavens is actually indicative of Atlas, the Greek titan who was punished by having to hold up the whole world. So Bear of the Heavens is 7 and a red. It's a creature giant who is a 10/10. When it dies, destroy all permanents at the beginning of the next end step. So it just destroys the world. It destroys the whole world and nothing will remain. And a bird. Alright, let's go for the next pack. This is just a fun little series where I just like craft packs. Sometimes you find some old stuff, sometimes you find some new stuff. The very much maligned Dragon's Maze. This set made Return to Ravnica an awful experience to draft, if I remember correctly. Loading Ready run once. I can't remember if it was this set or if it was I think it actually might have been Gate Crash actually. If they deliberately drafted all the 2-drops and just ruined everyone's day, and they just played mono bears basically. This was part of a cycle, the Gatekeepers, so basically they had an effect where if you controlled 2 or more gates, you got an additional effect in addition to the body. The Clue Stones were the mana rocks for this set. They were fine, but honestly we ended up getting better mana rocks later on. Depiquidal's the coolest flash band. I think it's a little bit of plain pauper. I don't know, I'm not an expert. Our first uncommon is Showstopper, which is the first reference of candy in Ravnica. And now we've got talks about coffee. So it basically turns all your creatures into explosive devices, basically. Our second uncommon is a Tristani Summoner. This is so cool. So for 5 green and a white, you get a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you put a 2/2 white knight with vigilance, a 3/3 centaur, and a 4/4 green runner with trample, in addition to getting the 1/1. Imagine blinking this a few times over if you had the ability to do so. Our third uncommon is a Gleam of Battle. And our rare is a Beck and Call. So this is they had a set of cards which are similar to the split cards that are in current Guilds of Ravnica, but these ones had the ability of Fuse. So Beck is for 2 and a green and a blue. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield this turn, you may draw a card. And then for Call, you pay 4 white and a blue, and you put 4 1/1 white birds. Now the trick is they've got this ability Fuse. So basically, if you have 4 green, blue, and green, blue, white, you can cast both halves, and they'll resolve left to right, and you get both effects. This combined with Brain in a Jar and some other cards basically formed a deck in Modern, which they eventually changed the rulings of and stopped the deck from working, which is a little unfortunate. Guildgate and a worm. Alright, it's time for the Hour of Devastation. Let's blow up the world again, shall we? Blur of Blades. I think this is seeing a little bit of play in Pauper as well. I don't know. I'm not a Pauper expert. The camel. Beneath the Sands. Cycling was a cool thing to see back in this set. Eternalize is an interesting mechanic. Same with Embalm. The Desert Cycle. Gilded Ceridon. Our first uncommon is a Merciless Eternal. Our second one is a Fervent Paincaster. The Exert mechanic was quite cool, actually, allowing you to get a more powerful effect at the cost of losing the creature for the turn. A Braid. This was an all-star in Standard at the time. It now sees play in Modern, even in Legacy now, so it's kind of cool to have these. To actually open this. And a rare is a Hostile Desert. So it's a land, it's a desert, it taps to add colorless. You pay 2 and exile a land card from your graveyard, and it becomes a 3/4 elemental until end of turn. So it's a creature land. And we've got the sweet Full Art Mountain. And we got the Sunscourge Champion token, which is quite cool. Speaking of, let's go to Amonkhet. Hieroglyphic Illuminations is a great common. The cartouches are a cool cycle of cards where you get an additional effect. It's a cheap enchantment. This one actually sees play in Bogles as a way to get around Liliana of the Vale. Manglehorn, so it basically destroys an artifact and stops artifacts from entering into play untapped. Kefnet's Monument, this was a cycle where all the gods had their own monuments. They made spells of that color cheaper to cast. Whenever you would cast a creature spell, not even if it was the same color, you'd get some additional effect. Trial of Zeal. This was very nice to combine with the cartouches. So you played the trial, played a cartouche, bounce the trial back to your hand. You can replay the trial. And our rare is Aronis the Indomitable. This saw a fair bit of standard play in its time. So for 2 and a green, you get a 5/5. It's a legendary creature god. It has Death Touch and Indestructible. It can't attack or block unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. And for 2 and a green, another target creature gets +2/+0 and trample until end of turn. So that was really nice another nice and open. Plains, Natar Corpse Skirmisher. There's actually some decent packs, actually. The Scape Shift and the Mariners are pretty cool opens. And sometimes it's nice to go back in the days. Ooh, now I'm going to get a little hot button. Iconic Masters. Let's see if we can open something sweet. When I opened my box, if you may remember correctly, I actually opened a foil Elish Norn out of one of my packs that's actually needed for my deck. My Legacy Dredge deck. Kiln Fiend. These cards were all in previous sets. Jace's Phantasm. I wonder if there's a mill deck in Pauper at the moment. I don't know. Hammerhand. Swipe. Rebound was a cool mechanic. Valtung Invocation. Dragon Bell Monk. Jesse's Girl. Our first uncommon is Windfall. Second uncommon is Mahamodi Jin. Third uncommon is a Sultai Flare, and our rare is a Crucible of Fire. Dragon creatures you control get +3/+3 for 4 mana. And our foil is a Sustainer of the Realms. Boop, boop. That was a little disappointing. That was a touch disappointing. But hey, you're only buying one pack. You can't expect to pay gold every turn. Let's go to the Ventus Fair with Kaladesh. The Thriving Rites are a part of a cycle where you get 2 energy, and if you pay the 2 energy, you get an additional effect if the creature attacks. Fabricate was a cool mechanic. Welding Sparks was a great bit of removal in this set. Larger Than Life, I think it saw play in some deck. I can't remember which one it is offhand. Oh, in the Electrostatic Pummeler style Infect decks. Bastion Mastodon. Revoke Privileges. Our first uncommon is an Aether Torch Renegade. Second uncommon is the Inventor's Apprentice, or the Nerd Ape, as it was kind of lovingly nicknamed. Whirlmaker is our third uncommon, and our rare is a Multiform Wanderer. So for 5 mana, you get a 3/3, you get 3 energy, and you can play 1 energy to give the Wonder Flying, Vigilance, or Lifelink until end of turn, or you can pay 1 energy to give it +2/-2, or -2/+2 until end of turn. And Servo. Let's go with Guilds of Ravnica. This set is so fun to draft. I've actually enjoyed pretty much every draft I've played with this. Dimir and Boros are probably 2 of the strongest decks. Selesnya is probably a pretty close third. I think Golgari is the weakest because you just need the res for it to be good. You need the res and and just the payoffs to make it remotely good. Deadweight, I was so happy to see this card get a reprint. First uncommon is a Gatekeeper Gargoyle. Second uncommon is a Molder Hulk. Our third uncommon is the wee Dragonauts. Sorry, I'm kind of contractually obligated to do that. Oh, and our rare is a Vraska Golgari Queen. We're hitting it very nicely, guys. So, for 2, a black and a green, it's a legendary Planeswalker Vraska. It has 4 loyalty. You may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, gain 1 life and draw a card. For -3, you destroy a target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. And for 9, you get an emblem where whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Oh, we want the Foil Legion War Boss. Man, this pack has been quite good. So, Legion War Boss is a 3-mana 2/2 Goblin Soldier. It has Mentor. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token. That token gains haste until end of turn and attacks this combat, if able. So this is the final form of the Legions, the Goblin Legionnaire sort of cycle of cards. He's become a War Boss. And we got a Guild Gate. Damn, that was actually pretty good. Holy snap! I wasn't expecting that. I wouldn't know what I'd pick for that draft, to be honest. Like that, if I had to draft that pack, I wouldn't have known what to pick. Wow. Put in the comments if you want to have that discussion, because that'd be a cool little discussion piece, actually. We're going to Tarkir now with Dragons of Tarkir. I enjoyed I actually love Tarkir. This was actually a cool set. Cool plane as well. Just the concept of like the time traveling and like the future's changing. It's just a really cool concept. I hope we get to revisit it. First uncommon is a Virulent Plague. The second uncommon is Roast. Very good bit of removal. Actually saw a little bit of standard play at its time, I think. Sees a little bit of modern play here and there as well if you need to deal 5 damage. Our third uncommon is a Beltor Dragon. And our rare is Living Law. So for 3 and a blue, you get a Star. And this is when it enters the battlefield, you exile a instant or sorcery from your graveyard. Its power and toughness are equal to the exiled card's converted mana cost. And when it deals combat damage, you may sacrifice the Living Law. If you do, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost, which is pretty cool. Sweet zombie token. Wow, my voice is slowly going. I just hope I can get through this video. There's not many packs left, I don't think. Which is good. And we're going to Shadows over Innistrad. Let's see what kind of spooky treasures there are in this pack. Delirium was a cool mechanic where it counted the. It's kind of like the Tarmogoyf. It's kind of the Tarmogoyf mechanic. First uncommon is a Dralny Corpse Trawler. Second uncommon is a Stitchwing Scarb. Our third uncommon is a Spiteful Motives, and our rare is a Slayer's Plate. So for 3 mana you get an artifact equipment, which equips to 3. Equipped creature gets +4/+2. If the equipped creature, whenever the equipped creature dies, if it was human, put a 1/1 spirit token in with flying onto the battlefield. And our flip card is a Neglected Heirloom. So for 1 mana you get a artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. When the equipped creature transform the Neglected Heirloom, and you equip it for 1. And it turns into the Ashmouth Blade. So equipped creature gets +3/+3 in first strike and equips to 3, which is pretty cool. Dominaria. Let's come home to Dominaria. Lord's Fury. Blink of an Eye, very good common. Knight of Grace is our first uncommon, very good uncommon. I think it's now seeing a bit of a resurgence now with the rotation. Skizix. Sage of Latnam. And our rare is Ariel, Knight of Windgrace. So for 2 white and a black, you get a legendary creature human knight, which has vigilance. For 2 and a white, you tap it and it creates a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. For black, tap and tap X target, tap X untap knights. Destroy target creature with power X or less. Very good. Mountain. Nearly done. There's only a few packs left. Let's go back to Ixalan. I hope some of these cards kind of see their play now with rotation. Conquistador. Merfolk, Pirates, and Dinosaurs. That's like the little kid's dream, you know, okay, if you could create a world, what would you create? You know, I want pirates, vampires, and all the things. Our first uncommon is a Sentinel Totem. Our second uncommon is Fire Cannon, which is seeing a little bit of standard play now that token decks have become pretty popular. Our third uncommon is an Imperial Aerosaur. And our rare is a Fleet Swallow, so for 5 blue, you get a 6/6 creature fish. Whenever it attacks, target player puts the top half of his or her library rounded up into his or her graveyard. Forest and Treasure. And our final pack is a nice little spicer. Masters 25. Let's see if we can get something spicy in here. I like the fact that they put... Oh, Diabolic Edict, really nice. I really like the fact that they put the set that it was first printed in as a watermark, and it makes some of the foils really cool. This is a fun set to draft. I only got to draft it once or twice. Our first uncommon is a Blightning, very nice uncommon. Second uncommon is a Will-o'-the-Wisp. Our third uncommon is Rancor, very good in Bogles, thank you. Brain for working. Oh, and our rare is a Blood Moon, nice. So, Blood Moon, 2 in a red, it's an enchantment. All non-basic lands are mountains. Very good, I actually needed more copies of these. And a foil is Skeleton Eyes. Very nice. That was a good way to end this, actually, because that was our final pack. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining me on this, guys. Please remember to find us on Facebook at the Planeswalker Pantheon. Like the video, comment, share, subscribe, anything you want to do. And I hope to see you guys later.